Well, I'm happy to say we're joined live now on the programme by Finnish politician and former European Parliament candidate Armando Mima. Mr. Mima, thank you so much for your time today. So this Democracy Shield initiative, is it something to be celebrated or something to be concerned about?
First of all, it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
The Democracy Shield is a new operating system that ultimate aim is to censor any form of dissidents and to contain the political landscape of Europe. The European Commission wants to decide what the European people should listen, hear, or say about democracy in Europe. This is so far the biggest attack on European democracy done by the European Commission. The EU Commission wants to create a group of NGOs, fact-checkers, and trusted influencers that will act as Europe or Brussels arms to operate and interfere in the political system of Europe. This is very alarming for the European democracy.
An official comment on the Shield says the initiative must ensure that, quote, false content is not rewarded. How do you expect that to actually be determined? How will they go about doing that?
So it's a very absurd scenario where the European Commission will be deciding by itself what can be fact-checked as true and what no. So the EU Commission not only is preventing European citizens from speaking and having freedom of speech, but they want also to decide what is the truth and what is fake news. And so far, the European Commission President, especially Ursula von der Leyen, has been one of the main sponsors of fake news and propaganda in Europe. And frankly, we can clearly say that the king is naked. Europe is claiming to have qualities that it does not have anymore. We are heading into a historical moment where Europe is falling into a tyranny, so clearly.
Yeah, one more before we actually get into more about Kaja Kallas, the EU foreign policy chief, because I know you've spoken about her as well. But EU officials who presented the initiative, Mr. Mima, said a fact-checking institute might be rendered independent, despite being funded by Brussels, if everyone plays by the rules. Now, it's interesting, you know, the rules. Who works out the rules? Who polices them? And who polices the policemen if they go over their remit? There's a lot of issues at play here, and we've been down this road before, haven't we?
Yes, there is only one police here, and that is Ursula von der Leyen and her assistants, Kallas, and all the gang. I will rather consider them as a criminal gang than being the actual European Commission of Europe, because this is the most illegal thing we have seen in Europe since its creation, where the European Commission will decide who can be a candidate, who is interfering and be called as a Russian interference. So exactly who's going to decide this? European Commission, of course. They want to decide what can be labeled as interference from Russia and what not. So clearly, we have only one police here, and that police is Ursula von der Leyen.
Well, the EU foreign policy chief attracted a lot of attention herself with a recent statement, which many commentators say could benefit from some fact-checking itself. We can take a listen together, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Security guarantees to Ukraine do not change the fact that the threat really here is Russia. In last 100 years, Russia has attacked more than 19 countries, some as many as 3 or 4 times. None of these countries has ever attacked Russia. So in any peace agreement, we have to put the focus on how to get concessions from Russian side. There are rarely wars in the world where the situation is so clear-cut as it is here. We have one aggressor and one victim. The focus should be on what Russia, the aggressor, must do, not what Ukraine, the victim, must sacrifice.
Yeah, it appears Ms. Kallis has never heard of Nazi Germany or its operations on Russian soil. Do you imagine statements like that will be monitored as well? Or is it one rule for the elites and another rule for the rest of us?
It's astonishing the ignorance of this woman, that she does not have any knowledge of history, and she should go back to school, learn history, and then if she qualified for again for this position, then she can try to run again. She is having disastrous policies. She's the person who is supposed to work for top diplomacy for the European Union, and every day she makes damage when she joined her office. It's really astonishing to see one of the top figure of diplomacy for Europe to talk like this and to insist that she continue with her own narrative, which is the only person who believe that, because the rest of the world knows history. They can see how things are going, and clearly she is there to promote Brussels narrative, which unfortunately does not reflect the reality.
And you know, when she speaks, she's got a sizable team behind her as well. They could maybe do with a little bit of schooling as well and education on that, because it was an extraordinary statement. And just one more on Kaja Kallas, because you recently said people like her, you know, her remarks, as absurd as they are, they matter. They're influential. And you said that people like her are responsible for Europe's diminished role in the Ukraine peace process. Can you give us a sense of what you meant by that?
Yes, her policies and her statements are hurting not only the interests of the European Union, but they're also hurting the interests of Ukraine and the prospect of a peace deal, which President Trump is working so effortlessly to achieve with Russia. She should be supporting the US administration in even a bad peace deal will be a good for Ukraine to end the war. But again, I think she's not aware of the damages she's making to Europe and to Ukraine.
This could also, this initiative, it could also deepen the rift, couldn't it, cross-Atlantically between the US and Europe? Because you'll recall J.D. Vance recently likened Brussels' policies to Soviet censure, strong words, but he backed it up with a lot of facts at that time. What do you make of the comparison? Will it lead to a sizable rift as well?
Well, it's the historical moment. It's very dangerous, and it's similar to what we have been experiencing before the Second World War. All these policies to silence any opposition or any candidate who is like me promoting peace and diplomacy are a very, very dangerous path. Europe is rearming itself at speed rate and is silencing all the voices that are advocating for peace. And we don't enjoy freedom of speech. We can be labeled as interference at any moment. I got recently an attack from local media in Finland. only for expressing, for advocating peace and diplomacy. So clearly this is one of the most dangerous time for Europe. And there is hope. Like people like me are trying to work hard to reverse this warmonger narrative that keep continuing from Brussels. And I hope that more and more people will start to stand against these warmonger policies that are taking Europe into a very dangerous direction.
Yeah, and you make your point very clearly and coherently. Thank you, sir, for coming on the programme, for doing just that. Finnish politician and former European Parliament candidate, Mr. Armando Mima. Thank you, sir.